Over 10 million people at risk. $112 million worth of savings you can't touch. People can't access their money. So when we say get out now, when we talk about getting out of the banks, it's not the fact that all banks are bad, but it's the fact that when we invest in certain banks and when we put our savings in certain places, guess what? The bank didn't close. They're fighting a closure, but guess what happens? They lock down the accounts. So how can we hedge against this? And also, how at risk are you with your own bank? So when I say get out now, what do I truly mean? Let's jump into it. Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. I had to come on the other side of the farm because we're actually starting to take down the wood and all the junk that has fell, all the trees that fell on the pig barn last night and yesterday. So we're on this side of the farm. You see it's a beautiful sunrise, but sometimes you hear a lot more birds, you hear a lot more activity. So it skews the loudness, and I love nature. So hopefully you like it. Now before we get into today's video, please remember to please like and subscribe if you enjoy this channel, and also if you enjoy this video. The point of what we talk about is to have a common sense and wise seeking way of looking at our money, looking at our preps, looking at budgeting, and just being smart as we try to raise our family in this crazy world. Now today we're going to be discussing Yada Bank and also some other banks and also some trends of what people do because we live our life digitally. This is why I come back and say digital living and in putting all our life into trends and into nuance and into things that are just convenience sometimes can bite us. Let's talk about Yada Bank. Let's talk about the fact that these people can't access their money. And this is why I say when people say, well the government's going to take care of us, FDIC is going to take care of us. I just did a video from FDIC. But what happens is banks in contention, or if they are disputing something, they can lock down accounts. Remember, there's been big hedge funds that's done the same thing. Blackstone at one time, when the mortgage issue was going on, they locked down where people couldn't access their money. We talked about tons of crypto situations where they locked you down where you couldn't access your money. They said the money is safe, but then when you couldn't access it, what is the value of it? And that's probably my biggest push against digital or crypto funds is if you don't have it and it's on this device or it's on your computer, what happens if you can't access it? It's zero. So it's crazy because I'm a young guy. Most people my age and younger love digital things and conveniences. Well, like I told you before, I think I'm an old soul because I do not trust putting my money on banks that does not have bricks and mortar in our towns, and also the fact that I'm just going to load up on some app and trust that app. Are you crazy? Savings app CEO says 85,000 accounts locked by FinTech meltdown. We never have imagined this scenario like this. For 3 weeks, 85,000 Yada customers with a combined $112 million in savings has been locked out of their accounts. Now here's the thing. Yada Bank, what is Yada Bank? Yada Bank is one of these online newer banks where a lot of young people invested their money to where they said, well, we don't need the bricks and mortar, the old school banks. The new banks are the new trend, the new convenience to have it on your phone where you don't have to worry about all that, go to the bank and deposit your check. It makes it easy. Well, they started some online gaming things too, so it made it like a cool, new, unique bank. Guess what? A lot of YouTube finance people, a lot of YouTubers pushed this bank. So that's why I'm always telling you, be very conscientious and careful of anyone who is sharing information. Make sure you're doing your own research. Don't just buy it just because I tell you to. Don't just buy it because someone else tells you to. Just like, for instance, if I'm buying from Genesis Gold or Jace Medical or buying from Surfsharp, whatever I'm buying is because I'm invested in it as well. When you have these companies just reach out like Yada Bank, they've paid tons of money to YouTubers, and luckily I was not one of them because I look into researching the situations, and if I don't believe in something, I don't support it, and I don't tell you to support it, and I don't become affiliated with it. Well, guess what? A lot of YouTubers were affiliated with this, and so everybody started using their money, and instead of going and putting their cash under their in their safe, instead of putting their cash in a local bricks and mortar bank that has a history of a strong bank, no, they decided to put it via app online. There was people with hundreds of thousands of dollars. There was people with $50,000. There was people with $500. But you know what? When you put your money in a bank, you hope that it's always going to be accessible. That's the whole purpose of banking. My $1,000 may be your $100 or maybe your $1 million, meaning it's very valuable to you because that may be all you had. Well, these people, it's not saying the money's not there. The bank hadn't actually closed. FDIC hadn't stepped in. The government hadn't stepped in to seize. So what happens? During this time, you just can't access your money. How serious is that? I told you a story about getting away from PayPal and getting away from crypto. You could go back and look at those videos. I had money locked into a PayPal account, this was years ago, where a company was paying us, and I could not get the money because they wanted detailed social security forms, they wanted detailed addresses, they wanted detailed licensures, they wanted pictures of all this stuff, they wanted all this personal information of mine, and I could not access a few $1,000s. Crypto, I just personally don't find value in it because, for one thing, I can't tangibly hold it. It's all speculative. It does not make sense to me. Even as a younger person who understands what crypto is, I think it is a way to bait you into a digitized currency. But I digress. That's not what the video is about today. But those platforms are the same way. You pour your money into these platforms to get rich quick or to raise the value or to change it or exchange it. And ultimately, there's been several situations with Coinbase, Binance, with, of course, SBF's crazy stuff that happened not too long ago, and then even with crypto.com when I was trying to access money, I can't even get my few $100s off that from years ago. They wanted, again, all the security information that I was not willing to put it in. It's amazing that we were able to put our stuff into these banks, but it's kind of hard to get it back out. Now, when people say, oh, what about Cash App and things like that? Look, whatever you find is discretionary money and you need to utilize it for our new age way of banking, kudos to you. Personally, I don't like it. I don't want to have all the money that I dealing with a smartphone, dealing with technology, dealing with networking, dealing with energy. I think that's okay to a point, but here's the way I look at it. Even with playing with investment banking and putting money into like day trades, it's kind of like gambling. That's the way you need to look at it. If I lose it, oh well, I've lost it. But I would not put my whole life savings into that, because then if I lose it, I've lost everything. And so people were believing in this bank. It says the disruption caused a dispute between fintech middleman Synapse, Tennessee-based Evolve Bank, and also Yada Bank. We have never imagined a scenario like this that would play out, and no regulator will step in and help us, said someone who had money in the bank. Between two of Yada's bank partners, the middleman in Tennessee and also the Evolve Bank in Tennessee, led to the lockout of accounts at Yada Bank for at least 24 other startups, meaning other businesses that put their money in here. It's not only personal money, now you have businesses tied to it, so now these businesses can't even access their own money. For the past 3 weeks, 85,000 Yada customers with a combined value of $112 million cannot get their money. This disruption had upended lives, forced users to borrow money for just paying for their food and for common things. Some people had to use it to pay for weddings and surgeries because they had that money sitting in these accounts to fund those certain things, and now they couldn't access it. People lost their money to rent. They were late on their mortgages. Now, you don't hear anything about this in the mainstream media. Now, the reason I bring it up to you is when you see a new trend and you see a new bank and you see a new cool way of putting your money up in convenience for younger or older adults, sometimes it's not a wise decision. The bank that I personally bank with, it's a local bank that is, I personally know the owners of the bank. Not because I know them and they're special, it's because we're a small town. I like the fact that they are bricks and mortar. They are local people investing in their local communities. They eat, they dine, they grocery, they farm, they buy from our farm produce. They literally live, thrive, and be with our community. That's why I find value in that bank. And so therefore, if I'm putting money in a bank, I'm going to put it with one that's got bricks and mortar, one that I can access, but also the fact that it's not just completely digital on my phone. Does that mean I need to keep all my money in there? No. I've told you this before. Go back to the videos we just did just a few days ago. I don't like crypto, but if you like crypto and you're crazy enough to buy into it, have at it. You can make some money, but remember, you are stuck on a device or stuck on a cold wallet storage. You can't go to your local BP and buy gas with crypto. I'm sorry. One day it may happen, but right now it can't. I believe that's actually going to be the way that they bring in CBDC, by the way, is using people understanding how crypto works. But this is the prime example of why you don't do that. This is why you don't do the trends like the new apps and how people just load PayPal and Cash App and all these different app platforms with their own personal money and give them access to their bank accounts. That blows my mind. Why would you want to do that? Now, as I said, this is banking. But there's been several hedge funds, stock markets, and other pension funds where people have invested money and did not read their fine print to realize you can't access your money back quickly. You can't get the things that you're wanting back out quickly. It's your money, why can't you get it? Look, there's some big banks doing this now. The banks, they say, are not struggling. Well, I just told you about 2 days ago about getting your money out of some of these banks, and everybody pushes back. Sometimes the banks won't fail, but they won't let you access your money. I kid you not. If you go to your bank right now, and I don't know what you have in your bank, but if you have 10 million, if you have a certain amount of thousands of dollars, I mean, we're not talking huge, millionaire money. I'm talking just 10, 15, 20, $30,000. If you went there right now and said, I want to withdraw my money, I'm just thinking about changing, I bet you're going to have to sign something. You're going to have to give an explanation of why you want your own money. You're going to have to probably talk to a bank representative, not just some local teller. You're going to have to go to a bank president or one of the loan officers to say, hey, I've got to explain why I want my own money back. And you're going to have to write that out. You don't believe it? Try it. Most of the situations make you do that, and then they make you sign something saying you're pulling that much cash out. Also, if you put that much cash in, they're going to make you sign something. That is a dangerous precedent. So even though you're putting your money in the bank, sometimes you have to be very careful of those things and conscientious of them because of reporting, regulations, and the fact that, do I have access to my own money? I don't want to be like these people where I've been building up, stockpiling money, and all of a sudden, when I need it, I can't access it. Back to these banks, it says, the stories are heartbreaking. This gentleman said, we never imagined something like this could happen. We worked with banks that are members of FDIC. We never imagined the scenario would play out to a point where they would not step in and help us get our own money. Well, the money is quote unquote there, but they're locked out and no regulatory body will step in and say, I'm going to help you get your money. The ongoing mess has exposed the risk of corners of different investment style banking, different newer style trends, the banking on like so-called service, the trends of new banking and where it's all about an app instead of true bricks and mortar. There's tons of banks like this, so be careful if you're banking online or banking on your phone and there's no true bank where you can go downtown and talk to the officer. I say the same thing with life insurance or any insurances that you're buying. If you're buying something from online only, what is your safety net if you're giving money, you're giving your information, if there's no local agent, there's no bricks and mortar, there's no local reference to someone helping you if something goes wrong and you can't access your phone or you can't access your funds or you can't access your insurance or whatever it may be. This is very important to realize some new things and new conveniences are actually not good. One thing I laugh about is for so long we have said, okay, well, we've built this new innovations and new information and this is the best way to do it. For thousands of years we've been doing it other ways. It's kind of like our food system. Well, we've got to start making new things because these animals are sick and they're going to cause the climate to struggle. Well, for thousands of years we've had buffalo, cattle, chicken, and everything else. Pig, hog, whatever you want to call it. So for thousands of years they've gotten it wrong when their food system was strong and people lived a long time and didn't have cancers and sicknesses. But now we have a new trend that's going to be better for you when it comes to your food system. It's the same way with banking. Sometimes new conveniences and new ways of looking at things may not be good. So let's look at track records and let's look at how it's done in the past. And if there's no track record and it's not doing good in the past, why do you want to invest in it? And why do you want to put your money there? Why do you want to eat that kind of food? Why do you want to eat some kind of fake meat when you can have the real thing that's been proven to be healthy for thousands of years? I want you to listen to this, and this is where we're going to end. This banking is not a whole meltdown, but these two banks that's tied to Yada Bank, one of these banks serves 200,000. But listen to this. One of the other filings says that 10 million people 10 million people could be affected to a point where they can't access their money. Now, does that mean they'll never access their money? Maybe not, but as I told you before, if your life savings and all the money that you've put to save for a certain point, or you need to get to your funds and you can't, that is a big deal. 10 million users with active accounts may not be able to access their money. Last week, former FDIC Chair Jelena McWilliams was named the trustee over this Synapse Bank and this tie to the middleman. Her job is to develop and maintain Synapse systems and craft a solution that allows the people to return and get their money and allow the funds to be open. Government stepped in now. Did you know that most situations with FDIC and most situations when the government steps in, sometimes it may take years to access your money? FDIC, there's some reports that say, well, they have up to 5 years. Some say 20 years. Some say 99 years. Why do I want to put everything that I've worked so hard for in the hands of the risk of government's intervention to do it right and fix the problem? Have they ever fixed anything for you, or have they made it worse? So think about that. Next time you put your money in the bank, I have no problem with you putting money in the bank. I put my money in the bank, but I don't put everything, and I want to make sure that I have just as much access to tangible money in my home, or tangible assets in my home, or in caches, or in inconspicuous places, to make sure that if I lose banking opportunity, if the crap hits the fan, if Yada Bank or any of these online banks shut down, I'm not as affected and my panic level does not go up as we talked a few days ago. If you're depending on FDIC to keep you safe, that is government programs trying to keep you safe, and they have years to fix a problem. They're just now stepping in after months of this situation with Yada Bank. They're just now stepping in to appoint a trustee to start the process of people getting their money. Well, if you needed surgery and you were having a wedding, or you have car problems, or you needed to buy a new dishwasher, that was months ago. That wasn't now. So what did you do? You had to borrow money, go without, or say, I can't even access my own money. And that is crazy. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up for the day. Look at this beautiful morning. You hear the chainsaws. I've got to get over there. These guys are way more professional than I am, so they're gonna be doing the bigger cutting. I'm just gonna be the peon walking around them trying to help do as much as I possibly can. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I humbly ask you to subscribe and comment on the channel. Share this video, because remember, there's a lot of people that believe in online banking. There's a lot of people that believe in crypto. There's a lot of people that believe in day trading. There's a lot of people that don't hold cash. There's a lot of people that don't hold cash anymore. They put everything on their phone because of convenience. Well, these stories should scare you, because sometimes convenience could come back and bite you, and that is not a good thing. 10 million people affected, hundreds of millions of dollars not able to be gotten. They didn't close. So, hey, the bank's fine. But the access to the money is the problem. Let me know your thoughts. God bless.